Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a Mask Me Anything, which is like an Ask Me Anything that I didn't come up with the name for. I'm going to be using the Tatcha Violet Sea Radiance Mask today, and I am going to be putting it on my face while I answer your questions. This is now the third time we have done this on my channel. I love doing these when I just want a chilled out video, but also something that you guys might want to know the answers to. You know, you might not. Last time I did it with no bra on, I just took like a bath, and I had to edit out so many boobies. So many. Not just two, apparently. Many more. So I'm going to be applying it with my Sigma clay/mud mask brush. Never used this before, and I've only used this mask once, so I'm interested to see how I like it. I'm going to use my phone as a mirror. I'm going to be answering your guys' questions today. I had you ask on Twitter. Oh wow, this is nice. I haven't done a mask since legit the last time I filmed one of these videos. It's been a hot minute. And so far, so many questions have already rolled in. I'm always so surprised at how many people care. I'm so down on myself. I'm like, why does anyone care about anything I have to say? And I don't know why. I feel like I'm using way too much of this mask. Maybe not, maybe not. Yeah, for sure. Like I'm caking it on for no reason. All right, let's go. I wish I could turn that fan off. You can't turn the light off without turning the fan off, and I need the light because it's not bright enough in here without it, so. Sorry guys. All right, let's head to Twitter. Oh my God, there's 180 questions. First question is, how's the garden and home search from Kendall Ray? I love you, Kendall Ray. Garden is doing great, although we just noticed today that one of our tomato plants has blossom drop. The weather in Washington has been so up and down. Like the other day it was like 85 degrees and then the next night it was like 40. I don't know what's happening. Probably climate change. Frustrating, but there's other blossoms coming up, so I'm hoping the weather starts to stabilize a little bit so we can get some stinking tomatoes. Garden's going really well. I love it with my whole heart. I've never found more joy in anything ever. Also, how is the home search going? Not great. It's not terrible, but basically we are discovering that there's a lot of red tape in the whole land buying process. Although I did call based on one of your suggestions in one of my last videos that I uploaded, which I'll link up here. It's not that great of a video. I mean, if you like clean with me's, it's fantastic, but if you don't, then it's rough. I uploaded that video and I asked in there if any of you guys have any suggestions on how to get high-speed internet out in the woods, and one of you said that you can actually pay like Comcast to come out and put a line in. It just costs money, and I thought, well, that'd be an investment I'd be willing to make in order to live like a mostly off-grid life in order to still have high-speed internet so I could still continue doing YouTube in my dream home. So we're looking into that, and that was really helpful. This is like the beauty of YouTube, you guys. You're very helpful to me. Thank you so much. Sheridan says, are you excited for Jaclyn Hill's new brand? I really am, actually. You guys know that nude lips are like my everyday thing. So yeah, I'm about to go real nude. More nude than I am right now. I think it's great. I think that I would love to see some complexion products, but most brands don't launch with complexion products. I'm not surprised that it's lipsticks. I'm not disappointed that it's lipsticks. Honestly, nothing disappoints me or excites me all that much because there is so much makeup that's coming out now that it all kind of like flatlines its excitement for me. I am excited to try it. I definitely will get some lipsticks. I will let you guys know what I think. I am sure they're great quality because at the end of the day, they're lipsticks, and lipstick formula is what I like anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not a liquid lipstick fan, so I have a feeling I'm gonna like it. Samantha says, if you could give a fan one, I struggle with the word fan. If you could give a fan of yours the ultimate Kristi day, what would you plan and what would you do? That's a really tough, but if I just had to choose right now, top of my head, we would go get amazing food at their choice. I would love to take them sightseeing around Washington to some of my most favorite spots. But if we're not doing that and we're going like having a fun day, I would love to get coffee in Seattle at a really amazing coffee shop. At the end of the day, like after we have like amazing meals and hangouts and fun, I would 100% take them to Rockbox Seattle. Rockbox is a karaoke place where you have your own individual rooms and you have your own book, your own microphones, your own everything, and you have a little call button and you can call the server in and they'll serve you drinks in your room and food. You can sing karaoke all night long, but you don't have to sing in front of everyone else, which I don't mind doing. I don't get embarrassed singing in front of people. Some people do, and I just love the whole style of Rockbox. Is so fun. I would 100% take one of my subscribers there. I'll think on the rest of it because off the top of my head, I'm not that. I don't do anything, okay? I literally hang out with zucchini all day. Samantha March says, oh hi! Samantha March says, what is an item or two 2 or 3 on your bucket list? Frankly, I'm very like minimal when it comes to stuff like that. There's very few things in my life that I need to do before I die. I'm not like one of those people that's like, I need to skydive, I need to blank, I'm more like, my bucket list would be living off grid. That's really all I can say. Like right now, I've become so focused on living my hermit lifestyle that it's all I research and study and care about. I would love to be able to take my whole entire family on an amazing vacation, like a really long, amazing vacation where they could just relax and like all expenses paid. My card is on the room, you go have fun. Those are the 2 things I can think of right now that are like bucket list items. Before I die, I want to go to Hanson's Back to the Island. Okay, I want to go to Hanson's Back to the Island. Like, if you guys don't know me and you're new here, Hanson was my favorite band ever as a child. Okay, ever. And Hanson is still a band, and they still are around, and they're amazing, wonderful people who still make incredible music. And they do this thing every year called Back to the Island. And I just found out about it last year. I was too late to buy tickets for this year, and then I forgot, and then I'm too late to buy tickets for next year. Basically, they do like a 3 to 5 day long thing in Jamaica where they do like private Hanson concerts, and you're like staying at the same resort as them. What? Like, that's a bucket list item. I have to do that before I die, or in the next few years before they stop doing it all. Savannah says, if you could only use one brand for the rest of your life, who would you choose and why? That's so hard. So hard, because my mind immediately goes to a brand like ColourPop, who has such an enormous range. They're made in LA. I love ColourPop so much. There are other brands that I love so much too, like Fenty and Tatcha. Tatcha doesn't do makeup, so that's okay. I love Pure. oh my god, there's so many amazing brands. Probably ColourPop, for the sole reason that they just, do they have, I can't answer that. Andrea says, would you ever consider doing Samantha's podcast? Yes, 100%. I'm definitely going to be doing that. I was going to head up there the other day, but I'm having some car issues, so I couldn't go up. Definitely 100%. Absolutely. Alex says, are you doing any meetups, and do you think fan art is cool or weird? Art that other people create that's for me or like inspired by me is the coolest thing in the world, in my opinion. I'm so humbled every time anyone does anything like that, because it's just like, why me? I just cannot fathom it. I don't understand it. I love it. I think it's so incredible, and you guys are so unbearably talented. It's like sick. Am I doing any meetups? I want to. I definitely was gonna plan to do like my first Seattle meetup sometime this year. Hasn't happened yet, no, but I'm definitely gonna figure it out somehow, because I want to do it. Like, I really want to do a Seattle meetup. I feel like that's the next place that I should do one, and I don't have any planned at the moment, but I absolutely will start looking into it because I really want to meet you guys. Katie says, if you could travel to anywhere right now, where would it be? Hawaii, 100%. I want to go to Kauai or Maui. I loved Hawaii so much, and now it's like the one place. If I could choose to go anywhere, I think in the world right now, I would still choose Hawaii, which it sounds like I was like one of those people that was like, really, is Hawaii that great? Yes, it is. It's everything I loved in my life. I would 100% go there right now. Runway Rampage says, favorite Harry Potter movie and why? My favorite one is probably Half-Blood Prince, and I don't know why. I really like it for some reason, and I think it's Slughorn. I like the whole vibe of the movie. It's like dark, but it also has like some whimsical spots. It's kind of like the more coming of age movie. It's also like where shit pops off. So I don't know. I really like that one. It's a lot of people's like least favorite. I don't know. I really like that, and I love Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 just because it's the end. Deathly Hallows Part 2 is probably my all-time favorite one because I just think that movie is so badass. Like the whole scene with Professor McGonagall. Oh my god, stop. Lindsay says, favorite animal besides cats? Elephants. 100% elephants. I can't even think about them or they make me cry, so I don't even want to talk about it. They are earth angels. She said, also, do you enjoy reading? If so, what's your favorite genre / favorite book? I struggle with reading, not because I can't read. I struggle with reading because I can't read. puts me to sleep. I love to read and I love getting immersed in a really good book. It's been a long time. When I do read, I'm more of a self-help style person or non-fiction, but I can get the fuck into some fantasy, bitch. I loved Harry Potter. I used to read all the time, but social media kind of took over, which is sad. So I definitely want to get back into it, but I'm more of like a podcast / audiobook ass bitch. Alicia says, are we gonna get any Halloween videos this year? I missed them last year. I hope so. I definitely hope so. I want to do that this year. If not like a ton, I want to do a few. I have some ideas for videos I haven't really seen done. I have a feeling they're going to be done. Videos that I've really wanted to do for years and that I think would be so fun. I definitely want to do Halloween content. Last year was a shit show. Kayla says, how do you overcome fear? That's really hard. My best way to overcome any sort of fear that you have is to face it head on. I'm very afraid of heights, so I went on a hot air balloon and I did a zip line and I almost shit myself both times, especially because the hot air balloon that we did had like a semi-crash landing. And when I say semi-crash landing, I mean we landed sideways. So like the hot air balloon was coming down and instead of going down straight on its basket, it came down sideways and we had to all hold on and brace ourselves because we skid to a stop going so fast. The guy was like, okay, everyone brace yourselves. Remember how I talked about the way that you prepare for a crash landing? Everyone get in that position. And we were all like, what? So we all had to prepare for a crash landing and it was not fun and it was not cool, but I laughed all the way through it and I realized in that moment that if an emergency situation goes down, apparently I laugh. I think that the best way, in my opinion, to overcome fears, like I used to have really bad social anxiety and I didn't like the idea of going to things alone, so I went to things alone. I didn't like the idea of talking to people, so I would make it a point to talk to people. There's just a lot of different things like that. Am I an expert at it? Absolutely not. The way that I overcome things is by just doing them. Try not to overthink it, and usually in the end you're better off for it. Meg says, any new artists you found or any new music you've been into and what shows have you been binging? Nothing new, no new artists that I'm into. I've been really weirdly into listening to like John Denver. My husband got me into that because he was listening to Country Roads and I just really love that style of music. It just makes me feel like comforted. I'm really not super into like listening to all kinds of new music. I listen to like folksy, indie folk type of music or like oldies or like Simon and Garfunkel. Pretty basic, just things that calm me and make me feel relaxed. I usually just put on a playlist from Spotify that someone else has made of like relaxing ass music and go from there. Becca says, what made you laugh the hardest this week? Oh my god, Cody Ko. I had never heard of him before and one of his videos popped up and I recommended it and I would imagine that's because of that whole like Logan Paul thing that happened. This video was so funny. I was like puking and dying. It was so funny. Oh my god, I was like scream dying. I'll try to link it down below if I remember, but it was so funny. Kimmy says, are you working on any collaborations lately? Becca says, now that your place is remodeled, what's your favorite room / area in the house? Probably my bathroom and kitchen are the two. I don't know, I like my living room, my kitchen, and my bathroom. I like the whole house, frankly. I think the kitchen is my favorite room because that's the most drastic change and we use it so much now and it's just been so lovely. Runway Rampage says, what's one song that makes you say, oh my god, I love this song every time? Africa by Toto. Alex the Alchemist says, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Invisibility. Natasha says, if you could be any Game of Thrones character, who would you be? Arya. Jeannie says, without saying too much, what are your thoughts on all the drama that's been going on? I don't get why it couldn't have been done in private. That's exactly how I feel. I don't want to give my opinion really because there's enough opinions out there. It's been perpetuated long enough. I feel like no matter what my opinion is on each thing that happened, it won't change yours. I think that the majority of us kind of have our stance on it and that's just the way it is. I definitely have very strong opinions that I do not share about a lot of things because I don't think that everything that happens needs my opinion. I don't need to insert myself into any of it because it doesn't involve me. And at the end of the day, if I insert myself into it, I'm just asking for trouble. So I'm just gonna stay back and I'm not gonna talk about any of it because it's irrelevant at the end of the day. Do I think that all of it could have been avoided? Absolutely. Ooh, you asked a lot of good questions. I'm gonna answer them. Runway Rampage says, fuck, kill, or marry Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, Edward Cullen from Twilight, and Ron Weasley from Harry Potter. Can I have sex with him if I marry him? Because Jon Snow, I marry, hands down. Like, he's my husband forever. Kill Edward Cullen and, ooh, I don't wanna have sex with Ron. I couldn't have sex with Ron. Oh man. He's like my brother. I'm gonna have to kill Ron. No. Yeah, I have to marry Jon Snow. I wanna fuck and marry Jon Snow and kill the other two. I don't hate Ron, but I don't, you know, I'm sorry. Sheridan Vaughn says, will you and Zach ever get a dog, and do you have a specific breed you like? Zach wants a dog. I do not, but not because I don't like dogs, but because not in this house. Maybe in our next house, possibly. I am just a cat person. I love them. I love dogs so much. I love to kiss them on their little mouths. I love to give them all good lovies because they're all good boys. And I like to snuggle them and kiss them and hug them and be their friend, but I don't necessarily want to own one. I worked at a vet, and I guess I've just seen too much. I'm too jaded. I've seen too much. I've seen how attached owners get and how absolutely devastating and crushed they are when anything happens. Dogs eat everything and dogs get into everything. And I don't know if I'm ready for that, man. I'm not ready for that responsibility. I know how much joy they bring. I know how much love they give, but cats are just, I'm sorry, man. They're low maintenance, and I love it because they snuggle you and love you and do all that good stuff, but they don't need anything. They really don't get into much trouble. Dogs are trouble, man. If we did get a dog, yes, of course there are specific breeds that I like love and want more than anything, but of course we would adopt, not shop. But if it were like, ideal breed, a golden doodle or like a Bernedoodle, like a big, fluffy, floppy, teddy bear, lovey, giant-handed angel. That's what we want. Friendly. We love a good, friendly, goofy dog. We're not really super into like protective, kind of like standoffish dogs. Like I want a dog that when you walk in the door, it can't stop wiggling and its butt wiggles so hard that it wiggles almost off of its body. And it is like, I love that. Alana says, I'm born and raised in Hawaii, and me and my boyfriend have been looking into getting a second home on the West Coast. Do you think Washington would be a good place for us to look, i.e. cost of living, safety, etc.? We've both never been to the mainland aside from Disney and Vegas. I think Washington is beautiful. Cost of living wise, it depends on the area that you live in Washington. Honestly, it's freaking ass expensive here. This is not one of the cheapest states to live in by any means. There are certain areas that can be a lot cheaper, but what you make up for in price, you lack in ability to do anything. Like if you go into like Leavenworth, which is so stunning, or Packwood or Ashford or areas like that, they are unbelievably gorgeous and amazing and a lot lower cost for your land and your house, but you're 2 hours away from anything. If you live in Seattle, don't live in Seattle. Seattle is way too expensive. It's ridiculous, frankly. Safety, it really depends on the area that you live, but if you live like in Seattle, I'd say like it's not the safest place in the world, but outside of it, like in the country settings, oh my god, yes, there's just nobody there. I love it. I love Washington so much. I have such a soft spot in my heart for it. Obviously, I've lived here my entire life, so I'm kind of biased in that way. I'd say north of Seattle and the rural areas are really, really nice, but look things up or ask me in private and I'll let you know if there's a good area, because there might be an area that's like super cheap and super gorgeous, but there's a reason. So I would just keep an eye out for anything that seems too good to be true. Probably is. Lori says, when did you realize YouTube was going to become a full-time job for you, and how do you manage your time? I know filming sometimes gets boring or annoying. I don't know. Full-time job, I realized it has it been 2.5 years? Has it actually been 2.5 years, 17? Oh my god, yeah, 2.5 years. Holy cow. Wow, that's crazy. I wasn't sure then. I was making no money off of YouTube. I was not able to support myself or my income. My husband told me, hey, give it a go. If it's your dream and that's really what you want, let's see if we can make it work. And it did pan out. I didn't know if it was going to work, but I put all of my eggs into the basket because I knew it could work for other people. And my dad has told me since the dawn of my life, if some other son of a bitch can do it, you can do it. And that's true. And so I did what worked and I just figured things out. I love YouTube so much and it has given me my life. It has afforded me the ability to be sitting in the bathtub talking as a job. It doesn't feel like I deserve it or anything. I know that I did work for it because I didn't make any money off YouTube for like 4 years, like nothing. I did this just for the love of it. And then I realized you can do this and make a successful income from it. And so I didn't really know until I got further into it. It's about 2.5 years ago that it became my full-time thing, and it has been the best. ever. How do you manage your time? I'm not good at managing my time. I am not somebody that should ever be sought after of inspiration of how to manage your time. I'd say the best person that knows how to do that is Taylor, or the Taylor. She is a huge inspiration when it comes to work ethic. I don't have that work ethic. I know I can work hard and I get my work done, but I do it in the most stressful, worst way possible. I procrastinate till the last minute. I complain the whole time. Like, I'm not that bitch. I was like that when I had a conventional job. I'm like that now. I'm like that with school. I'm like that with everything. It's very rare that I will be like super ahead on things. I'm more or less always last minute on everything. I don't manage my time well, but it always gets mostly done. So I just kind of live my life by the rule of fuck it. Sometimes filming does get boring or annoying, but at the end of the day, would I rather be doing a job that I'm not particularly in love with? No, I cannot complain about this life because it is a dream and I will never complain about it. Yes, sometimes is it tedious to sit and film videos, especially when I'm not feeling particularly funny or creative, for sure. Like, it's really hard to get in the right mindset sometimes, but that's why sometimes you get a Q&A from the bathtub. Emily Leanne says, what about nature/outdoors is so inspiring to you? I wish I could tell you. I think what it came down to for me is that anytime I feel stressed or anxious or overwhelmed, I always step outside and I deep breathe and I go on a drive and I go sit in nature. And I found that if that is what de-stresses me and I naturally gravitate towards it, maybe I need to naturally gravitate towards that on a larger scale by, you know, hopefully buying land and all that stuff. I just discovered that my goals last year, had you asked me the same question last year, like, what are your ultimate goals? What kind of house do you want? Like, where do you want to live? I would have been like, on the water, $10 million home. I want to be Elon Musk. But ultimately I discovered that that's not where my internal true happiness, personally me, nobody else. Like, I understand some people might just like live, breathe, and die for that lifestyle, and I'm sure it'd be super nice, but for me, I ultimately get the most relaxation and happiness and fulfillment from being in nature and working with nature. Always have. I don't know what it is. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel a connection to it. And maybe it's my age, because I do discover that the older I'm getting, the more like my mindset's kind of shifting and changing towards what my priorities are. And it's not to say it's any better or any worse than anybody else's. It's just like what I'm really into right now. And it totally may change. I may get that and be like, not quite the thing. But as of right now, yeah, it's like the only thing I find myself gravitating towards. Drew says, do you and Zach argue at all? How do you both stay happy? You seem like you have a lovely relationship. We definitely argue, but usually when we argue, it's about the dumbest shit ever. So stupid. And usually, you want to know why it is? Because I'm hangry, or because he's hangry. Because usually we notice that we're the meanest to each other when we haven't eaten all day. And like the other day, we wanted to go get dinner together, and he was like, yeah, before we go get dinner, I'm gonna get a hamburger. And I was like, no. And I was such a bitch. We got in this huge argument because I was so mad about him wanting to get a hamburger. And then we both looked at each other at the end of the conversation where we were like so pissed at each other and like bickering back and forth and like talking to each other like this. And we looked at each other and we're like, are we arguing about a cheeseburger? Are we actually arguing about a cheeseburger? All right, perspective. Do we ever have like blowout fights? No, but that's mostly because it's never been productive. Like, I used to be such a fighter in the beginning of our relationship. I would freak out and like slam doors, and I realized it's not a productive way to ever get through to Zach. If we are mad at each other, I have to leave him alone. He needs to be left alone completely. He does not do well bickering back and forth in an argument. Generally, if we just leave each other alone for like 20-30 minutes when we're like really annoyed with each other, we can clear our minds, time healed a little bit, and we can come back and be like, all right, let's just settle this. Usually our disputes are about what we're having for dinner. They're stupid shit. Like, we usually never get into like real arguments. That's not to say we are no perfect couple by any means. We just talk a lot. I like to really dive deep and like get into the deepest, thickest part of it, and he's very much the same way. So we have a lot of discussions, the two of us. Meg, what personality trait has gotten you in the most trouble? Oh my god, that's the best question. Not thinking before speaking. That used to be my biggest thing. I don't do that anymore. I don't do it at all. I used to be a fucking bitch. Like, I didn't think before I spoke. I would misspeak all the time. I would say whatever was on my mind. I don't care what I have to say. It was so stupid because my views on so many things have changed so much over the years. When you are so strongly connected to an opinion that most likely is going to change and that you didn't even think through all that much, nor did you maybe even research it that much, and then when you do realize that you were wrong, like you alienated a whole bunch of people and you were a bitch and people didn't like me, like people used to like unfriend me all the time on my social media. People, I was so quick to jump to my opinions and conclusions without ever looking at both sides. I do not do that anymore. I literally do the opposite. Now when a situation arises, I'm like, okay, how can I see this from every single angle to come up with my ultimate conclusion? And also I realize that my ultimate conclusion can change, and that's fine. I also like to try to see both sides always, because I didn't used to be like that. I was all or nothing. I was fuck you if you don't believe what I believe. I don't like living that way anymore, because all it does is alienate people. All it does is make people think you're kind of a closed-minded bitch. And it didn't serve me or other people, and it didn't make anyone change their mind. That was my worst personality trait, is that I didn't care. Like I was speaking my truth, and fuck you if you don't like what I have to say. And I am not like that at all anymore. And I literally can't even recognize the person that I used to be. I cannot. I think that's why it's so interesting when people are like, people don't change that much. Bitch, yes they do. I am so far from the person that I used to be. I can't even recognize that. Like I'm just not even on the same level as that mindset. I don't know, man. Ashley says, what advice do you have for people who feel like they'll never find love? I'm gonna use my sister as an example here, because she was one of those people, and my sister has found the love of her life. And the last time you guys saw her, she didn't know him yet, and everything about him coming into her life has been so incredible. And she was one of those people that was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna find love. And then when she did, the world opened up to her. So I'm saying there are 7+ billion people out there. You will find the one that is meant for you. You just have to keep looking, because my sister kind of was like, I don't think it's ever gonna happen for me. And then she did. She found the love of her life. So it's absolutely possible. You can be happy. It just sometimes takes time, and sometimes you find people in the craziest places. Nicole says, what is one thing that Zach does that annoys you? Zach does this thing where anything ever that happens, good or bad, he will end it with, I told you. Always. It does not matter. Like if I'm like, oh, this pad thai tastes gross, he'll be like, told you. Even if he didn't tell me, we'll be like, yeah, I don't really want to go to the store. There's going to be too many people. He'll be like, nah, there's not going to be too many people. We'll get to the store. There's too many people. And he'll be like, told you. I'm like, you didn't tell me. I told you. He does it with so many things, like literally so many things. I have it on video. Like I need to go through all of my footage and like find the amount of times that he has said, told you.
That's a lot of mushrooms.
Told you.
Why do you do that with everything?
I don't know.
Every time I've ever said anything to you, you finish it with told you.
Because I've told you.
As if he's told me shit. You don't tell me nothing. You're not my real dad. Lindsay says, based on your recent post about trash consumption / landfills, are you living waste-free or in the process of living as such? It's such a great idea, but it seems hard to initiate. I am 100% not waste-free. The more I become more conscious of our impact in the world, both positive and negative, the more I'm realizing that it's very possible for me to make changes that are actually helpful. We use reusable grocery bags. If we don't use reusable, we use paper, and then we compost that paper. We are trying to not just recycle, but really implement the reduce and reuse. And I'm trying to eliminate so many different ways of waste, like not buying things in, single-use plastic containers. And it's a process. I'm not perfect at it. I'm never gonna be perfect at it, but I just feel like a big misconception with anything is that if you're not doing it 100%, you're not doing it good enough. And I wholly, completely disagree with that sentiment. Say that you eat a super heavy meat-laden diet and you want to try eating less meat. Someone might tell you, oh, well, you're not fully vegetarian, so you're not doing it right. BS. If you cut one meal out a week, that makes an impact. If you then cut it up to 2, if you then transition to full time, that's like, I see that all the time, that like, if you're not doing it fully, you're not doing enough. That is not true. Don't let people make you feel that way. I feel like that's an all or nothing mindset. And I think most people, when they hear that, they automatically go, well, then nothing, because because it's not good enough, so I'm not gonna fucking do it. It's absolutely good enough to do one thing per week makes a difference. One time of recycling is better than no recycling. Like, the more you do, the more you'll realize that how much you can do. And this isn't me on a high horse. Am I perfect? No, like absolutely not. I realize every day just how wasteful I've been in the past and how wasteful I continue to be without even realizing it, because it just comes so second nature. It's just kind of the way you live. Like, you just throw everything away. You don't think about recycling it. But when you start to think about it, you're like, oh my God, almost everything I use can be recycled, and almost a ton of things I use can be reused at the same time. And if I don't buy that and I try this instead, then I'm reducing the amount. And it's all those little gestures you do that if all of us implemented them would make a huge change. But instead, some people will make you feel bad for not doing enough. And I just think that is so damaging and stupid. There are so many things that we could each do every day to make a positive impact in the world. And don't let anyone make you feel like it's not enough because you're not fully doing it. If you're doing anything in the right direction, any step, big or small, in the right direction is a good step. So don't let anyone make you feel bad for that shit. Alexandria, would you ever consider creating your own sustainable makeup company? I don't want to have a makeup company. It's not at all in my dreams or passions in life to own my own makeup brand. I think that it would be incredible if that were the case, but I think I would rather use my voice and platform to try to help other brands that are already existing maybe start to use some sustainable packaging, reduce waste in that way, and other things as well. I don't ever want to have my own makeup brand, but that's not to say that I couldn't help out in some way. I'm no expert. I don't know shit about shit, but I don't know. Larlene, I don't know. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What inspires you the most in other people? People who are very positive all the time and always lead with a smile and radiate positivity. I feel like sometimes I gear towards the negative in my life, and I've been told that before. So it really is something that's conscious about me often, that I am being nice and that I am being kind and positive. And if I feel myself kind of gearing towards the negative, I try to like correct my mindset. That's something that I really am inspired by in other people who see the best in all of the situations in life. And for some reason, I wasn't like that for a very long time. And I think it had a lot to do with just the situations I dealt with in my teenage years and just a lot stuff in behind the scenes that I've never talked about on YouTube before. I feel like made me see the negative in things for a very long time. And so I'm very inspired by people who just live authentically with radiating positivity. Love that. Sarah Adams said, any recommendations on how to find your passion? You seem happy with this new direction in your life. Would love to hear how you found that, your thought process, etc. I am in no way an expert on this. I don't know anything. All I did was sit down and be honest with myself about my direction in life, what I really wanted, and not doing what I thought I should be doing. That was a long process for me, and who knows if I'm even right in what I want, but it's given me happiness. I don't really know the answer. All I can say is that it's going to look different for everyone. Some people's love of their life might be living in a high-rise in downtown New York and, you know, eating at cafes and having drinks on the weekend. And some people's might look like traveling the world or backpacking through Europe or living van life. Some people might want to live in a houseboat, and some people might really find their joy in singing worship music or doing missionary work, or others might feel like they want to be a nomad, or the opposite. Some people might really want to live the business lifestyle, you know, shooting their way all the way up to the top and become executives or CEOs. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. And so we really have to discover what your idea of passion looks like to you, because it may completely differ from somebody else's, and that doesn't make it wrong or bad. It just makes it different. Emma said, what qualifications did you have for wildlife rehab? I had no qualifications at all. I went in completely with zero knowledge. I called one day. I'd gotten laid off from my job because they went out of business. I was unemployed, and I realized that it was the perfect time for me to pursue my passions, which was with animals. I had no qualifications. I called the local wildlife rehab and I said, I want to do this. What can I do? And she said, well, we have an internship position available. Would you like to fill it? And I was like, absolutely. It was an unpaid internship. It lasted 3 to 6 months. I can't remember. It was in that time span, and it was unpaid. I think it was 30 to 40 hours a week, and I was learning on the job. You learn a lot on the job, and I feel like those trainings are the most beneficial. I think book skills are insanely important. There was only so much research that I could do from the IIWRC and like wildlife rehab programs. Getting your hands in there and actually doing it on the daily was absolutely so beneficial to me. So I had zero skills. I came out of it a lead wildlife rehabber. You don't have to know anything if they're willing to teach you on the job, and when they were. I learned so much working there, and the first year was completely unpaid, and then I got the morning shift lead position the next year. Then the lead wildlife rehabber took a bunch less hours, and I kind of took over her position. I wasn't the clinic director, she was still the clinic director, but then she decided to go with somebody else for the lead position. It makes a lot of sense now, and I'm actually not sad that it happened because I'm happy with the way my life has turned out, like very, very happy. So I'm thankful that it happened. In the moment, I was devastated, but I'm glad that it happened the way that it did. The other girl was more qualified than me because she was a veterinary technician and a wildlife rehabber, so she had the anesthesia skills and everything that I didn't have them, you know? I'm not a vet tech. Paige says, what's the thing you look most forward to moving off grid? Waking up and stepping outside with my coffee and seeing my land and my fruits and vegetables and my hard work paying off to something tangible that I can treat my body with. You know what I mean? Like, I grow these tomatoes and these tomatoes benefit me. Like that's the thing that I love about, you know, growing things, is that it tends to my soul. Oh my God, I swear, I know how I sound, dude. I know how I sound, but it does. It like tends to my soul, and then it feeds me in the process. It's just so sweet to me. I just think it's the most precious little angel. I just want to know that I'm securing myself for my future, not just myself, but my husband and my family if they ever needed me, and that if anything were to happen, I'm set. And that if one day people don't watch me on YouTube anymore, or if something changes with ads or with the way things work, that I have my place that we have created that can sustain us in a healthy way and that would serve me in my heart. So that's all I had. Haley Deanna says, is there a makeup brand you miss using that's not cruelty free? Yeah, Benefit is my number one. I think Benefit is such a wonderful brand. I love Benefit so much. I love their makeup. I love their brow products. I love Benefit so much. So amazing. Their team is just the best. All I can hope for is that one day in the future, all brands become cruelty free, because the laws shift into that position, and that we don't ever have to even ask ourselves, is this tested on animals? Because we know. Because nothing will be in the makeup and cosmetic world. That's my ultimate goal. Instead of brands in themselves making that decision, I just hope that the decision is worldwide and that we can make that victory for all future little babies. Amber says, do you drink a lot of water? I drink zero water. My husband literally has to force me to drink water because I never, ever feel thirsty. Beth says, what do you do for health insurance as a freelance artist? You have to get private health insurance, and where I live, there is one health insurance option, and it is crazy expensive. You have no other options. You either get this health insurance or you pay the penalty for not having health insurance. So I don't even have options as far as pricing goes. I'm stuck with what I have. It's not even good insurance. It sucks ass, but you know, it's the way it is. Caitlin Mia says, do you ever remember your dreams, or do you have reoccurring ones? If so, can you tell us one that has stuck out to you? I don't dream. If I do dream, I pray that the next night I don't dream. It's not my favorite. Usually, if I dream, it's a nightmare, and usually I am scarred by it. And so every night before I go to bed, I pray that I don't dream. It's a really weird thing. It sounds so weird, but it works for me to just like, dear God, please no dreaming about Pennywise tonight, or Chucky, or Leatherface. I really prefer not to dream about that tonight. I would also prefer not to dream about horrifying things. Please nobody skin me alive in my dream tonight. Please nobody murder me or chase me around for 2 hours with a chainsaw in my dream. I would really prefer not to dream about anything like that. And if I'm going to dream, please make it about like making out with Charlie Hunnam or my husband, sure, or hanging out with all the cast of Game of Thrones. But please, no nightmares. Amen. Aaron says, if you were an animal, which one would you be? Probably a sloth. Frankly, I kind of identify. Nikki says, what is your favorite candy? Snickers. Dad says, it's not my dad, but it is dad. What is your best way to push through cluster headaches? I get chronic headaches and Advil's not going to be an option forever. I use a prescription medication called sumatriptan or Imitrex, and I am honestly just really gentle with myself, which sounded really weird to say. But if I'm having a bad day, I allow myself to have a bad day. I used to beat myself up about it and be like, I have a million things to do. I don't have time for this. Now I realize that I have no control over when I'm going to get one. So I'm just gonna like sit back and just let it run its course, take my medication and do everything I can to stop it, and just lay there with a heating pad on my face and just be gentle with my schedule and just realize that like shit happens and you gotta roll with the punches. Dawn says, has YouTube made you think differently about people? Yes, it's made me think differently about friendships. friendships. I think that I'm just a very straightforward person. I don't have ulterior motives. It's nothing like that. Like if I like you and we're friends, that's it for me. I try to just be like that, and I've realized that it's not always the case with friendships. I keep my friends that I love very close, and I keep my circle very small. I frankly don't trust like anyone, and I don't want to make new friends really. I have a lot of acquaintances. I really love people, but I'm very careful about what I talk to people about because, I mean, we see why. Eloise says, would you ever drop a mushroom growing tutorial or just talk about how growing your own food is incredibly interesting but seems finicky for so many different aspects? On the Sweet Life of Zach and Kristi, which is our new channel, we're gonna go into all of that. I'm gonna link it up here. You guys, by the time you're watching this, there may be a video uploaded on already. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know exactly the timeline. I've already been working on editing it all day today, but absolutely we're gonna talk about all of that because it's not, of course, I've gotten no food yet other than mushrooms. Mushrooms grow really fast, but we've eaten our own mushrooms that we've grown. By the way, they're not magic mushrooms. They're shiitake mushrooms and pink oyster mushrooms. It's not hard. And I think that's what a lot of people make it seem really hard. And it discourages a lot of people from wanting to even start by being like, there's so many rules and when do you plant and what's the best time of the year? You will make mistakes along the way. You will plant a garden and things will not work the way you want them to sometimes. But that is a part of the learning process. If you overthink it, if you overanalyze every situation, if you think, oh my God, this is gonna be so hard and I don't know when to do this and what if I did this wrong, you'll overthink it to the point where you won't even want to start. You won't even want to give it a try because it'll seem too much. It's not that difficult. Plants want to grow. They want to do well, and just start and then research as you go, and as things go, you'll learn seeds are cheap, and if they don't pan out, then they don't pan out. So I think it's just really important more than anything to just not overthink it and just start, because you'll learn along the way, and those lessons that you learn from trial and error are more important than any lesson that you can learn from the internet teaching you something. That, you know, something will give you like a, hey, if you do this, this will happen, and those things are nice to know, but you can't really understand it until you see it happen to your own plants or you see, you know, how things go. So just jump right in. But yes, we will be having that content up on our other channel. Ask any questions you guys want to ask regarding that. Lindsay says, this is a touchy as fuck subject, so if you don't want to answer, I get why, but what are your thoughts on MLMs, more specifically the makeup skincare ones, Lime Life, Unique, etc.? I have very, very strong opinions regarding MLMs, and I was going to do a full separate video all about it, so I don't think I'm going to go into detail here. I have my own personal experiences with MLMs, Mary Kay, Cutco. There are a lot that I personally have like very, very strong experience with in my past, so I not only just have my thoughts on it, but I also have my real life experience, and oh man, let's just say my thoughts aren't positive. Whenever you discuss an MLM, a lot of times that people are like, they're not all bad. I never said they were all bad. I just think that they're, in my opinion, with just going very surface level and not getting into it too much, it's a pros and a cons thing, and I see way more cons than I see pros, and usually the pros come at a huge cost to a lot of people. So I definitely want to get into that in a later video because there's too much to cover to answer it in a Q&A in a video and have it be concise and to the point without people trying to come up with too many ideas about it. But I think that there's a shit ton of problems with MLMs, and they are not without their issues, and I think that the majority of people that defend them are currently in them, and then a lot of times those same people leave it because it didn't work for them and then go anti-MLM, which is kind of like proving the point. Missy Palos Translator says, how do you decide what YouTubers to become friends with and what others to become cordial associates with? That's a really good question. Frankly, you'll know when you meet them. I steer clear of anybody that I see have constant issues. Although sometimes you meet people and what you thought or heard about people does not equal what they are really like. That has been true time and time again in both positive and negative ways. Sometimes you meet somebody from the internet and you've heard things through the grapevine, and then you meet them and those things you've heard couldn't be further from the truth. Sometimes you meet people and you've heard that they're great and everyone thinks of them in a really positive light, and your experience with them couldn't be further from positive. It doesn't matter my opinions on somebody or my personal experience with them, because my personal experience is my own and it may fully differ from other people's. There are people that I very, very heavily dislike in this industry that other people, and the majority of people, love. And that's because I've personally had a rough experience with them. It's just, and it's the other way around. There are some people that are like widely hated that I love because I don't base my opinions of somebody off of other people's experiences or what they tell me they're gonna be like. I try to base it off of my personal interactions with them or from behavior that I see consistently throughout. I just try to, you know, again, see it from both sides, use my best judgment. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. Sometimes I'm totally wrong, and sometimes you can get to know somebody thinking they're great, and then the more you get to know them, you're like, oh, bitch. And sometimes it's the complete opposite. You just have to be that judge for yourself and, you know, realize what you think works best for you and what kind of friends that you want to have. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt until they show me something else. Christina says, do you still do keto? No, I stopped doing keto like 3 weeks-ish ago. I love keto. I think it's a fantastic lifestyle if you do it correctly. We were doing it correctly, but I went to the doctor and we discussed a whole bunch of things. He put me on a new plan. Honestly, just have discovered, like, I'm healthy, everything's fine. I definitely do have health problems and I have things going on. New medications. What I discovered is that for me personally, and this is just me I'm speaking for, I'm still a proponent of the keto lifestyle. I think keto is amazing. It made me lose a whole bunch of weight. I gained like 10 pounds back or like 12 pounds back. That was over Christmas time, and I was just eating way too much food, like nobody would deny. I stopped doing keto because my friend Marie went and she saw like this world-renowned, like insanely smart nutritionist speaking, and the nutritionist was talking about like well-rounded lifestyles and diets and things that people should be eating, things that people shouldn't be eating, and just like strict lifestyles and things that can work really well for weight loss but aren't that great for long term. And I think keto is incredibly amazing, especially if you do it right. It's so good, and it was so helpful for me in so many ways, and I did it for 2.5 years. The reason that I have recently stopped is because I am tired of living my life extreme. I don't like living extreme. I don't like being extreme. And I used to be so much into, you have to do this, cut this, do that. And I just want to, in all areas of my life, live balanced and healthy without being too caught up in one label or one way. I don't think that specifically there's like one thing that we should be doing for the rest of our lives. I missed fruit, and I want to eat a lot more veggies and fruit and healthy in that way versus eating just like super low carb. I love a low carb lifestyle, and my doctor did put me on that lifestyle. My numbers are all good now, and basically from a nutrition standpoint and from what I feel is right in my life right now, what feels right to me is to eat healthy and varied, and lots of colors and lots of greens and lots of veggies and lots of fruits, and just that's all I want to be. I just want to live my life like super balanced, and when I've been eating this way, I feel so much more positive about my impact, and that's all I can say. I don't ever want anyone to feel weird or like I've changed or shifted my position. I still think keto is amazing, and I think that keto is a fantastic way to lose weight, and I'm not losing weight nearly as quickly on this lifestyle as I was with keto, but I'm okay with that because I don't want to get into that mindset of like, if it's not keto, it's not healthy, because that is unhealthy for my mind, and I don't like that. So will I go back one day? I mean, I could maybe see that being a possibility because I've done it. I did it for 2 years very, very, very seriously and was such a huge proponent of it, and it made me feel so much better. But now I'm more about getting my gut health really healthy, getting my nutrition on point, eating a very balanced, super varied diet, and not being so worried about my carbohydrate count because I'm afraid of gaining weight. I need to be more concerned in my personal life right now about health. Susie says, when you are stressed or anxious, what are your go-to things to relax? Acoustic or piano music, candles, low lighting, deep breathing, meditation, and getting off of social media. Those are my best things. There are a lot of different ways that I personally de-stress. Sometimes taking a bath isn't a part of that routine. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's masking and relaxing. It really varies with each different, situation, but almost always includes the first things I mentioned. Kirst says, what's been your favorite place to explore in Washington? Heading down to Portland from Vancouver, BC next month, and camping on the way down. Would love and appreciate recommendations. Lake Diablo, 100%. Stunning. Diablo area, gorgeous. And when you go up east, into the North Cascades, it's just unbelievably stunning. Mount Rainier is also unbearably beautiful. So gorgeous. Mount Rainier, oh my God, it's so lovely. Like the Packwood and Ashford area, just, you can't get more beautiful than like those incredibly amazing mountain views with like the river. It's just so lovely. Mary Kate says, would you ever consider renewing your vows and having a wedding with your style now compared to when you got married? Oh my God, 100%. I want to renew my vows with my husband. Next year, like 2020 is our 10-year wedding anniversary, and we'll be together for 15 years. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I would 100% would marry him again, but I wouldn't want to spend a ton. Maybe it would be lovely to have our friends and family there to like renew vows. I would feel a little weird about it. Yeah, it would be wonderful. I would love to do that, but I wouldn't want to spend a ton of money on it. Samantha says, what are your pets' names? I have Mad Eye, but I call him Douglas. I have Mama or Mommy, but we call her Slidell. And then I have Belly, but we call her Ballron or Ballerina or Bellarine. I don't know why I do these things or why my animals are called these things. They just are. Belly is the dumbest name. I have no idea why I named my cat Belly. It's because when we found her, she had a collar on with a bell. We never could find her owners after like 6 months of looking. Belly is what came into my mind. Mad Eye is Mad Eye because he's one eye. I call him Douglas for literally no reason. I have no idea why. He was Googie Bear and now he's Bugless or Douglas. Mama was the outside stray mama kitty that was abandoned, and I call her Mama because she had a bunch of kittens that we took care of as well. Now I call her grandmother because one of her kittens had kittens. But we did do that. We did take her to the foster. I don't know if I ever updated you guys on that. We were able to find a foster home for her. She had her babies. She had 3 little angels, and they're gonna get adopted, and they think that Mama can get adopted because she's been a lot more friendly. So that's good. I call her Slidell as well because she is the softest bunny rabbit kitten. She's a big old fat round mom. Because her fur is so silky soft, when she runs and stops, she just slides. So she just slides around the whole house all the time. So we call her Mama Slidell or Slidell or Mom. So that's that. We also have outside cats. They're not ours, and I don't necessarily have names for them, but we have Daddy, who's the daddy kitty, but we call him Dee Dee. And then we have Baby Dee Dee, who is baby daddy. We have Fluffy Baby and Black and White Baby. We don't have names for them. And then there's the outside Douglas, who's not our cat. And then there is Mr. Kitty, who is the neighbor cat. We are cat people, and we feed all of these neighbor cats. Sad Potato asks, do you have veneers? No. I had braces when I was a kid. Andrea Fries says, what is your all-time favorite meal? My favorite meal that I can think of in my life is probably, okay, it's one of 2. So they're both homemade meals that I made, that Mia and Zach made. And the first one was this noodle dish. It was pappardelle noodles, and we used, I'll try to put the recipe down below if I can remember. It's like a rosemary mushroom sauce. Oh my God. If it isn't the best pasta I've ever eaten in my literal life. There's no meat. It's totally vegan. If any of you guys are wanting the recipe, I will try to link it down below. It's legitimately like the best pasta I've ever eaten in my life. Even though I've even had like truffle pasta, and I almost, I don't know, I love it so much. And second favorite meal is probably that HelloFresh meatloaf, dude. It was that good. I'm not kidding. Like when I say it, and I say it's the best, I mean it. It's the meatloaf au poivre. I don't know, I'll put it on the screen or not in the description. So good. I've also had like really yummy meals from restaurants before. Like I had this amazing truffle pasta from Osteria Mazza in LA. I don't know. I've had some good food, man. I've had some good food. Sarah says, do you think micro-influencers are valuable to brands? Do you feel like what ABH did, for example, is doing with micro-influencers in their PR list significant? I think it's a genius marketing strategy. I also think it's an incredible opportunity for smaller influencers or micro-influencers. I'm not a huge fan of the term micro-influencer. It sounds a little degrading to me, but maybe that's just me. I think it is smart on both sides. It's a great way for smaller artists to get on PR lists, but in the same token, I don't want people to forget that it is absolutely in the brand's best interest, because they know that smaller artists are a lot more likely to post about that makeup, and that they're going to get a lot of exposure and a lot of tutorials and a lot of incredible looks that they can repost and use as marketing. So while I think it is so great, I see through it. I mean, I see what the point of it is. I think it's great. Like I'm all for people getting on the PR list. I just don't want people to forget that at the end of the day, it is still a business, and I don't want anyone being taken advantage of because they feel so, you know, they're so grateful to be on a PR list and to get all of that free makeup. And it is insanely generous and incredible of the brands for a purpose, though. I want people to remember that. Like, it is, you know, it's not like they're bad people. The people behind these brands that do these things are great, and they want to recognize micro influencers because they realize it is more talent than a lot of people have. And I definitely think that that needs to be recognized and noticed, but I don't want anyone to feel obligated. You are are valuable and your time and effort is valuable and you don't need to work for free. Like, sure, post all that you want to and like be thankful and grateful for the makeup. That's amazing, but I just want people to remember that like your time is valuable and your skills are valuable, and I want you to know that, just to remember and keep it in your mind and know that this is a very, very big business indeed, and that those PR brand search things are a lot of business and marketing that was free. So that's all I want to say. I think it's great, and I also see just some concerns with it as well. Okay, I got my bath water on, so it's like filling up because my bath water is like tepid. I'm gonna answer a few more questions. I know this video is long, but I just don't care. I'll try to put like question timestamps on this one. That'll be a lot of work, and I hate that I'm committing to that right now, but I definitely think I want to put some question timestamps because this is such a long video and you can kind of click around to what you're interested in. Victoria says, do people ever negatively respond to the way you look? Oh, absolutely. I get comments all the time about how I'm ugly or fat or stupid or my lips are small or I have a double chin. At the end of the day, I don't care what people think about what I look like or have to say about what I look like because it is so insignificant to the person that I am. My looks are literally the last thing I give a shit about. Sounds weird coming from somebody who likes makeup. I like makeup because it's fun to play around with. I don't wear it 99% of the time, and I don't give a shit if somebody thinks I'm ugly. It has nothing to do with me. That's just a personal opinion, man. You think I'm ugly all you want. You do you, baby. You do you. Jelly1421 says, have you had people in your past wanting to reconnect only because you're on YouTube? No, nobody wants to be friends with me. No. I pretty much keep to myself. If people reach out, I'm just like... Cryan Bastro says, have you ever tried oxygen for your cluster headaches? I heard a podcast about it. Yes, I tried it. I tried it for a year. It did nothing. It never helped me, and it was incredibly frustrating. Emily says, would you ever adopt or consider surrogacy? Probably not. I can't ever say no, and like never is never, but if I can't have biological children, I don't know if I'm going to even have children as is, maybe, but I don't know if adoption or surrogacy is in the cards for us. It might be in the future, but as we stand on it, I'm kind of leaning more towards no. I think that if I can't have my own biological children myself, I don't know. I never say never, but I don't know. Lady KJ says, do you watch drama channels? Yeah. From time to time, I would say. There are definitely a bunch that I think do a really good job. I think that drama channels have really gotten much more fact-based and much less opinion and like meanness. I feel like so much has changed over the course of, you know, drama commentary over the last few years, and yeah, at times I do watch them. I used to not, and I do think there have been very toxic ones, but those ones kind of died off, and really a lot of the ones that are more either funny or just more level-headed and fact-based have really done well. Britt DNS says, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to overcome in your life? Probably my mom dying was the worst thing I ever had to overcome. I was really young when it happened, so it was really hard for me to understand. I'm actually probably thankful that I was so young, because if it were now, I love so much harder and I connect so much more with like family that I think it would absolutely crush me and destroy me and ruin my life if it happened now. It shaped me a lot of who I was, and do I wish it wouldn't have happened? Oh my God, yes. But my mom passing did make so many things happen that I don't know if would have happened if she didn't. I'm not saying I'm glad it happened, but I feel like things do happen for a reason. And if my mama hadn't passed away, I wouldn't have gone all like emo and scene. I did that after she died. She wouldn't have let me do that. And I wouldn't have met Zach. And he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And so while that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, he was also the best. So out of a really bad situation came a really good one. Jessica says, how do you stay grounded when the beauty community is a crazy shit show? I don't involve myself in it at all, and I realize that what's actually happening in my life is like the thing that's actually tangible and real and happening in this moment. Try not to get caught up in online stuff as much, because it can really mess with your head, and I just don't have any interest in being involved in it. Chelsea says, do you ever want to change up your hair? Yeah, I'm feeling that right now. I'm going through a moment with my hair where I want to have like dark brown hair, but I'm also having a moment where I want to be like as bleach blonde as possible. Don't know what to do, so I'm probably just gonna leave it and do nothing with it and just keep wearing it in a fun bun. Julie says, have you tried CBD oil for your cluster headaches? Yes, and I don't notice anything at all. Doesn't seem to help. Jessa says, how have you been? I feel like you're not as present on social media. I'm definitely not as present on social media because I'm trying to just like get my mind right. I feel like when I get really involved in social media, I start to overanalyze and overthink everything. I am getting better now and wanting to definitely come back to it, but I just always feel like a little break can never hurt anyone. And when there's a lot of stuff going on YouTube and like dramatic things and a lot of negativity, I like to just step back and focus on my real life here and realize that like it's all gonna be okay. Shicey be mine. I'm saying that wrong. Shicey be mine. Have you ever felt left apart or bullied in this shallow industry? In the beginning, I definitely felt like an outcast and I felt like such a loser, and I felt like I was always like trying to be cool and like trying to find my footing, and people weren't as friendly to me as they are now. Now, I really don't feel that way at all. Sometimes when you're at like an event or something, or if you're at like a brand trip, sometimes it can kind of feel like you're the outcast, but what you have to do and what I've found is just like talk to people, because a lot of times they're not going to talk to you first. So if you start talking to them first, then you realize that they're not rude, they're just like as awkward as you are. Most people are just awkward and kind of like standoffish. Sometimes their social media personality doesn't match their real life one. That's me though. Like I feel like on YouTube, I'm very much more like, you would think of me as almost like assertive and very extroverted, and I'm pretty introverted and pretty passive. So, I mean, I'm exactly what you're seeing right now. I think I come off this way. I hope. I always ask YouTubers, I'm like, okay, am I the same, or am I worse, or am I better, or am I, what am I? And they're like, yeah, you're pretty much the same. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But I'm a lot more initially standoffish. Like if I don't know you, or we don't know each other, or we haven't hung out, or if I'm at an event, I kind of like fall into the background a little bit. Caitlin Miles says, do you ever question your career as a YouTuber? Like ever wonder if you made the right decision? No, not at all. I feel 100% like I made the right decision. It has changed me in so many ways for the better. It has given me opportunities that no other job could give me. It has made me a completely better person. It has given me direction in my life, and it has afforded me opportunities I would not have had in any other capacity. YouTube is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Dirtbike Jess said, if it weren't for family, would you guys leave Washington? Do any other states appeal to you? If my family didn't live here, I would probably move to like Montana or Colorado or something. Like I say that because it's just stunningly beautiful. You can get like 150 acres of land for like $200,000. Like it's so reasonably priced. It's so beautiful. It's just like wildlife and mountains as far as the eye can see. I would move to Hawaii. If it weren't for like my family, I would move, but I am gonna stay for my family. Avery is very important to me. My dad and my sister are very important to me, and they're more important than moving far away. I would beat myself up for the rest of my life if I missed something important, and I don't want to do that. And I love Washington. Washington is amazing. It's just expensive. My only beef with Washington is the expense. I'm gonna wash the face mask off now, and you'll hear some water splashing as I answer some questions. Claire says, what's your favorite junk food to splurge? I haven't had junk food in a really long time, but I really love cereal. I know it's not a junk food, you guys, but I don't even allow myself to eat it. It's my number one. It's my number one. If I could eat cereal all day, every day, oh my God, I would. I love cereal. Fruity Pebbles, Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops, Cocoa Pebbles. I like healthy cereals. I like unhealthy cereals. I like it all, baby. I love Marie Callender's banana cream pie, spinach dip, and sourdough bread. Oh my God, this mask. This mask is everywhere. Doesn't feel like I'm getting it. S. Harline says, would you ever quit YouTube? I literally can't fathom it. I can't fathom quitting YouTube. I think the only way I would ever quit YouTube is if people just quit being interested in what I had to say, or, you know, if it just didn't serve me anymore, or if it changes so much that the platform like ruins itself, which is a possibility. I think that I'll always have something that I want to say on YouTube, and I'll always have something that I want to do on YouTube. I surely think so. I love it so much. I think it's an amazing platform, and if one day maybe I don't wear makeup anymore, I would still want to talk about what I'm interested in another way, so I don't think so. Everyday Flatlay says, how do you keep the romance alive in your relationship when you struggle with chronic pain? My husband is so wonderful about not ever making me feel guilty if I'm just not feeling good, or if it's just a rough day. I feel like we're both just very much on the same page with everything, and so we're both just stay very satisfied in that way. Callie the Creator says, who's your favorite influencer? And my fave is probably Jenna Marbles. I think that she is an earth angel. I think that she's wonderful and kind and sweet and a really good role model, and she's funny, and I just think that she has gotten better with age, and I love her so much, and I think that everyone needs to love her. Damn Naris says, what's the hardest part about being well known in the beauty community, etc.? I don't feel well known at all. I feel like nobody knows who I am. I feel like a total loser. Maybe that's the hardest part, is that no matter how successful I become, I never feel successful. I never feel like I'm doing enough. I never feel like I'm doing it right, or I feel like everyone hates me, or like I'm seen as like I'm trying to be one way when I'm not. I don't like being misunderstood. I just don't like that. I don't know. Conry Connell asked this one, and the question is, what are cluster headaches? Cluster headaches are a brain, I hesitate to call them a brain condition or a brain disease because I don't think they are. They're very not well known. There is no cure and there is no known cause. They occur more in men than women, but women can also get them. There is episodic cluster headaches and chronic. I have a chronic case, so that means I never get pain-free periods. People with episodic cluster headaches will get cluster headaches, let's say they start on November 2nd of every year and they go until January 3rd, and they know that that's their cycle, and they can almost time them down to the minute. I mean, they are on a clock, they are clusters of headaches. So when normal people that are episodic and have like typical cluster headaches get them, they are occurring multiple times per day. A lot of times they wake people up from the middle of sleep, they come in cycles, and then you get a long pain-free period. So like I said, November 3rd to January 2nd or whatever I said, they will have their cluster headaches, and then on January 3rd they stop, and then they wait again until November that year, and then they start again. They are unilateral, so they are on one side of your face. They occur in your eye, in your orbital bone back here in your trigeminal nerve. They are considered, based on reports and anecdotal evidence and pain scales, to be the most painful thing in the world. I would have to agree. They're the most painful thing I've ever experienced. It's like nothing I could ever explain in a way that could make sense. It's a pain that until you've experienced it, it can't be explained, because it sends you into another dimension of how much pain you're in. There is no known cure. There are things that can help. Things that can help are oxygen therapy. That did not work for me. Verapamil, which is a preventative medication that I take every single day, but it does not work. Sumatriptan to stop them, that does work for me. That only stops them once they start. So you have to feel it coming on, take the pill or the injection, and then wait. There are ways that are unconventional that help people, like magic mushrooms are a cure for a lot of people with cluster headaches, but they are illegal. My headache doctor did tell me that if he could prescribe them to me, he would, because that's how much they help with cluster headaches. They are not headaches. They don't hurt your head at all. No amount of over-the-counter medications can help them. No amount of ibuprofen or Tylenol or Excedrin migraine. Botox doesn't work for them. There really is nothing that works for migraine that works for cluster headaches. They are completely different. They are very understudied because they are so unbelievably rare. They are triggered by things like alcohol, lack of sleep, chocolate, too much sleep, specific foods, nitrates in meat. There are a million different things that can be triggers for them. I noticed myself, alcohol is a big trigger. I personally have chronic cluster headaches, so like I spoke about before, how the other people who have episodic, they get those pain-free periods every year. I don't get that. I never get a pain-free period. The longest I've ever gone pain-free was 19 days, and it was like the best 19 days of my life. It was so amazing. I probably get 2 to 4 a week on average. They are horrifying. I have a very different type. That's why my doctor's like, God, you're so atypical. We thought it could be trigeminal neuralgia, what I have, but I'm kind of atypical for that as well. I've maybe gotten like 3 or 4 of them in the middle of the night, but I usually don't get woken up by them. They usually occur by about noon or 2 p.m. Mine don't occur multiple over one day. Mine is one really long one, and nothing helps them except for triptans. So sumatriptan is what I use. I use a 100 milligram tablet on onset. Sometimes I'm too late and I go into a full-blown attack. If that's the case, I am pacing and smacking my face against whatever I can and rubbing my eyes so hard that you'll notice, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me right here, my left eye is significantly smaller than my right eye because I don't know, it just happens. Probably because I always put ice and heat on this eye, and I swear I'm probably gonna go blind in this eye from how much heat and stuff I put on this side of my face. It also shoots down the back of my neck in pain. It's just really random. It came out of nowhere. They don't know what caused it. They don't know why I get them. No one else in my family gets them. And I could have them for the rest of my life, or they could randomly stop one day and I could never get them again. There's literally no answers. I have tried everything. If you've thought of it, I've probably tried it. I have not tried the vagus nerve stimulator. There's like this little machine you can put on your neck and it'll like zap your nerve. I haven't tried that because it's super duper 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 expensive apparently, but I'm gonna talk to my specialist about getting it because it can't hurt, right? Or maybe it can, I don't know. So if you've ever been wondering about them, I try to skip over them because I think most people don't care, or they just, I'll get the comments of like, have you tried drinking water? Have you tried Excedrin migraine? Literally, if it exists, I've tried it. I've tried Red Bull, I've tried the D3 therapy, I've tried oxygen, I've tried 5-MeO-Dalt, I've tried busting, I've tried literally fucking everything. And none of it has worked. That's gonna be the final question. This is probably gonna be the longest video I've ever uploaded to YouTube. Thank you guys so much for asking questions. I'm going to try to do timestamps in the, I'll try to pin a comment with the timestamps. I'll also try to put them in the description so you guys can skip to questions that interest you. I know that these videos can be like hella long. Some people like to just watch all the way through. Some people like to skip to only the shit they care about. I'm kind of both sometimes. I'm kind of both. I like to skip. So I will try to do my absolute best to do that for you guys. Thank you so much for asking questions. Thank you so much for everything. I love you with my whole heart. Thank you, Tatcha, for this mask. Let's see how it feels. Well, it feels like skin. I don't know if I feel any difference. We'll see tomorrow if I break out. All right, well, I thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for asking questions and even caring. And I love you so much, and I will see you at my next video. Bye. I'm gonna be using the Violent C Radiant Matte. I say violent every time, Violent C. We landed sideways and skid all, ow. And usually, in the end, you're happier. The wild dogs crowd in the night. I gotta pin up this mullet, guys.